All right, so in this lab, what we're going to do is we are going to make a plugin. Okay, so a plugin is just another way of adding a feature or a function or something that you would want to include into your site. Now, they can be really, really robust, like a way of selling items, you know, through PayPal, or they can be really, really simple, like just adding in like what we're going to do, like a social media thing on the bottom. Okay, so we've already covered how to make a child theme. And the child theme is really nice because you can change things about the site itself, but plugins let you delve even deeper, and you can do much more with them. Now, I'm not going to do anything fancy today. We're just going to do a real basic one, just because to do a fancy one would take the whole course. I mean, it would take the entirety of what we would do, because it just involves a lot. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a very simple social media on the bottom of our site. So if I were to look at the site here, basically what I want to do is, let me put this over here so you can see it. So go ahead and, open up the child theme site. Where'd it go? Come on. Open up the child theme site in local. But basically, I just want to have that on the bottom here. It just has my social media stuff. And that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to make a little social media plugin that's just going to add that to the bottom of where of our site, and it's going to include it on all the pages. It should be very simple. Okay, so that's the goal. So that's what we're going to do. All right, I'm just going to minimize that. All right, so you just want to go ahead, click on this and hit Start Site, and then you can view site if you want, or click on Admin if you want. What I need to do, though, actually, first off, is I need to make the folder that's going to hold my plugin, and then the files that are going to be underneath it. All right, so I'm going to right-click on this, and just the easiest way is to show folder. So right-click over top of your theme, and then what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and direct me to my site. So these are all the sites that are here. There shouldn't be as many. As you can see, there's only 2 here. So some of them got lost in the shuffle here. I got to delete these manually. Anyway, so I'm going to open up this, and then you're going to see it has all this stuff. Now, the one we're worried about are these: the app, public, and then content. Okay, that's where the themes and the plugins and things like that we download will be. So here's plugins, and currently I just have this Elementor and Link Manager. I don't remember doing that, but we just have Elementor in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my own custom one. So that's going to be relatively simple. So we're just going to right-click, New Folder, and we're going to name it social-media, if you can spell it right, plugin, right? So that'll be my plugin. Now inside of that, I need to make a couple of files and folders, right? So open that up, and we're going to make a PHP file to start with. Oops, so new folder, or I'm sorry, not folder. Oh, I said that, delete. New text document. And we're just going to do social-media plugin, and we don't want this .php. Okay, so and it should ask you if you want to override the extension. You say yes. So now it'll actually should show a little icon of like your coding, hopefully, if that works correctly. So we need that. That's going to be our main file. It's going to hold our thing. So let's go ahead and open that up, and I'm just going to double click on it, open it up, or you can right click and open with for some reason it's popping over here. Come on, man, get off of there. See if I can pull you off. Is that gonna? That's not what I wanted. I can't seem to get it to. Hang on a second. Just didn't seem to want to come over, but anyways, I fixed it, so now it's good. All right, so I just open up that plugin, and then basically we just need to add some items to this. So this is going to be our main, what we call our header file. So we're just going to start off, and we're going to start writing PHP. So last time I just kind of had you copy and paste it. This time I'm going to actually explain what we're writing when we're writing it. So PHP works a lot like HTML, where in HTML you have to have an opening tag and a closing tag. That's what we're going to do here. So it's a little bit different, where you're going to do this, then where's the question mark, then PHP. And that is how PHP opens up. And then anything that's in here will be treated like PHP, and then you close PHP, by doing this, okay? That's how it works. So we're just going to leave the opening tag. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do a comment. So the comments work by, so we'll just do an opening comment and then a closing comment. So basically anything inside of these, the / asterisk and then * / those will be treated as comments. But that's actually how it reads the plugin. So this is going to be our header. Basically what this is, it's just telling the WordPress what our plugin is and the various information about it. So you can add a lot of information into this and it will all whatever. I'm just going to add 3 lines because that's kind of the bare bones, I think, of what you need. So we're going to do plugin name, and then I'm just going to call it my social media plugin. And then we're going to do description, and then say this adds my social media information in the footer, and then the author, and it's me. Probably should say my name, but we'll just say me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'm just gonna Control S, okay, or file save as, and then that's right here. Now what I'm gonna do is I want you to go in here just so you can see this is working. So go here, click on admin, and it popped over there again. Come on, buddy, get out of there. There we go. Go to admin. Then I want you to go down to plugins. Just click on plugins, and then you'll see it will actually pop up here. This wasn't here earlier. And there's my social media plugin. It says this has my social media, and it's by me, right? So I didn't add other things like the version. I didn't add a URI or URL to it. And you can see like some of these are much more robust and have all sorts of stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and activate it. Now, that's not going to do anything because there's nothing in it. But you can see that's how it reads it, basically. That's the information that it gets. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some more, some other stuff to this. So this is mostly just, this is just kind of like the register of it. And then this is going to direct the stuff that it does. Okay. So, oops. There we go. All right. So this is the main plugin. Then any other files and folders we would have, we would put them next to it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do a new folder for CSS, and inside of that is going to be a style sheet. So let's go ahead and add that now. So double click on it, right click, new text document, and we'll just call this one style.css. Yes, okay. So that'll be our CSS file. Now, if there was, I'm not using any in this one because we're not doing anything super complicated, but if there was going to be JavaScript, I would do another folder, JS, and then make my JavaScript folder in there, our file in there. But the other thing we would do, and you pretty much add this almost all the time, is a new folder. And this will be called includes. And basically anything that is part of, like we might have multiple PHP files because there might be multiple things that this one plugin can do. Our plugin's only going to do one thing, but some of these plugins, like if you look at the Elementor, right, that has all sorts of things it can make, like carousels and portfolios and pages, and does a lot of things. So it would have a whole lot of files inside this includes. Instead of having one really, really, really large PHP file, I'll have a bunch of them, and that way they're kind of sectioned out, and it makes it a little bit easier to work with. So what we're going to do is in the includes file, we're just going to go ahead, and this is going to be the file that actually does the brunt of what our plugin's going to do. Okay, so we're just going to right click, new text document, and then we're just going to call it social-media-plugin-function.php. Functions. Okay. Boop. And then we'll hit yes. Okay. So this is going to do the brunt of what I'm actually looking for it to do. Okay. All right. So now we've got all of our pieces here. Now we just need to make them actually work. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up the function so we can actually kind of make this do the thing that we're looking for. So I'm just going to double click, open this up. And again, it went over there for some weird reason. Let me see. If I have this open, and I will open to this one. There it goes. Okay. All right. So now I got this social media function. So we're going to do the same thing we did. Oh, I want to note one other thing, too, that you might have noticed, and you might have been like, hey, wait a minute. You probably thought it was a mistake. Notice that I opened the PHP, but I didn't close it. That's actually the suggested thing. Now, if I was going to do PHP and then write some HTML and then go back into PHP, then yes, I would have to put the closing, write the HTML, and then write PHP again. But you usually want to leave the PHP open because the default of WordPress is always reading PHP. So it's better to actually just leave it open because then it will just, whenever it gets to the next document, wherever it is, it'll start reading it as PHP. That should be the default. So most of the time, believe it or not, you leave PHP open at the end of the document. It's kind of weird, I know, but that's just, anyway. So right here, we're going to open PHP again. PHP. Like that. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I did a /. Got HTML in my brain. Okay, it should be this. There we go. All right, going to open up PHP. Now, there are basically two things that PHP kind of works by, and if you read the webpage, you will remember this. But basically, it has hooks and functions. Okay, so if you recognize or remember what event listeners are, event listeners basically listen for an event, they wait for something to happen, and then when that happens, they will run a function, and that's kind of what hooks do. So basically, hooks will. There's two types. There's add action and there's add filter. But basically, if it's add action, it'll wait until something happens in the site, until like a section is loaded or until something is included, and then it'll go, oh, now run it. And that's its hook. That's how it's hooking into the way that WordPress is executing your regular core functions. It hooks into like certain parts. Like when it's writing the page, it goes, oh, I'm going to hook in here. And that's how it runs. So add action does that. And add filter is sort of similar, but what it'll do is that it'll basically, there might be a section of content, and what it'll do is it'll go, oh, I'm going to take all this content, go through this filter, and then put it back. Okay? So one will just run a thing, and the other one usually returns something. So it's kind of like the difference of, if you run a function and the function might be void, and that just means it runs a function, that's all it does, versus if it's a function that has like int or float or something in front of it where it's going to return a number when it's done running. That's basically the idea here. So the first thing we're going to need to do is just go ahead and add our hook. In this case, it's just going to be add action. So I'm going to do add _action. Okay? And that is like, and then we'll just go ahead and do parentheses. And then put a semicolon on the end, okay? So, like I said, there's this one, and then there's add _filter. We're going to do add action because I'm just going to generate content and stick it in on the bottom. I'm not taking something and changing it, per se, okay? So that's our hook. It's add action. Now, what it needs is where is it going to add this action, where's it hooking to, and what is it going to run, okay? So, actually, before I even do that, the function I want to run is going to just be called function. And then we're going to name it. Now, this is a unique name. This isn't, so add action is a built-in function in WordPress, meaning that's just something that is there. There's a bunch of different functions. I guess it'd be methods at this point, but a bunch of different functions or methods that you would run that they have built in. One of them, a couple of them are these hooks. This function is going to be our custom function that we want to run based on that hook. Okay, so this function is just I'm going to call it SMP for social media plugin _add _text, and I'm not sending in any information, and then I'm just going to do opening brace and close brace. Okay, so basically this is the function I want to run. I just need that for when I go to do this. Okay, so the add action needs two things. It needs where to hook and what function to run. All right, so first it needs to know where to hook. Where we're going to want it to hook is WP WordPress _footer. I want it to, basically when it runs the footer, I want it to run this. So a good example, so normally when WordPress runs, it'll run a header, body, or I think it calls it content, and then footer. It's usually a sandwich. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, when you go to execute the footer, I want you to run this. In fact, actually, maybe I can show you that. Let me see if I can find. Let's see if I back this thing up to the content. I don't know if, well, this one might be easier. So if you look, you see how it has header and then footer. So basically what it'll do is it'll always run this header because you always have that. Usually always have like the logo and the nav bar or whatever on the top right. And then the footer usually has like, actually usually has nothing most of the time, but you know, it might have like legal or whatever, or made by, and then you'll have page. So it'll go header, it'll run header first, then it'll run page, and then it's going to write footer. So we're saying, I want you to attach when you run footer. That's what this is saying, okay? So for instance, if you do WP header, it's going to run when header runs. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it does. Anyway, I'm going to make sure I get back to my plugins. I don't think I need to go in there anymore. Okay. So we want the plugin when it's going. We want to hook onto the footer, and then the function I want it to run is going to be this function right here, this SMP underscore add underscore text. Now, one of the things that always weirds me out if you're used to coding is that usually when you call a function, you put those parentheses in, but you like, don't do that here. I don't know. The syntax is a little weird to me with PHP. I find it inconsistent. Like, I'm okay with it being different, but it shouldn't be so inconsistent, and I find it very inconsistent. Anyway. Okay. So, what do we want our function to do? So, in our case, we're going to make something really super simple. I literally just want it to write some stuff out, and that's what it's going to do. So, we're going to tell it to echo. When you say echo, that basically means it's going to print to it's going to write it to the screen, okay? So, we're just going to do echo. That's a built-in command. And what I want it to echo is going to be this. Let's just so we can see it works. Let's do a P and say, you know, this is my social media stuffs. Okay. And then we got to make sure we put the P in there because this is what it's going to write. If I don't put the P in there, it won't be a paragraph element. Okay. And then we're just going to go ahead and put a semicolon at the end of that. And there's the function, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Okay. So look at it. Pause if you got to. All right. And now I'm just going to go ahead and do this thing. So let's visit site. Stole yours, Murray, by the way. Just because I wanted to work on this computer and mine wasn't working on here. So you can see it doesn't show up. Working great. Let's double check something. It says it's activated. Let's try sample page. I'm not sure if it's just not. All right. Awesome. Okay. So I'm an idiot. There's a reason why this isn't working, right? So I have this thing that says add action, blah, 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 blah. But if you think about it, this is what it's reading. It doesn't read this. There's nothing to tell this to read this. We have to tell it, hey, run this function. I totally forgot to do that. Sorry. We actually have to tell it to run this function, or otherwise it won't work. So I'm just going to go here, and underneath this header, we're going to direct it to run that this social media plugin functions. Otherwise, it won't do that. Okay, so we're going to tell it to, it's going to require underscore once, and it's going to be a plugin underscore directory underscore path, and it's going to be underscore file underscore. I know it's a really weird syntax. I don't really quite understand it myself. And then single quote, and then it's just going to be includes, and then we're going to write the actual file path here for /social media plugin. I keep putting a Y there. Plugin functions.php. Single quote. Boom. Okay. So now it's going to tell it to run, and it's going to go to this path here. So that should, yeah, like that. All right, so now I could save that, and then go back here, and hopefully, let's refresh it now. There it is. This is my social media stuffs. All right. Yay, it worked. Okay, sorry. That was a silly mistake on my end. Anyway, So this is my social media stuff. So now it knows to run it. But you can see, like, this isn't actually what I want. So we need to put what we want in there. All right. So what I would actually like is to put my stuff in there, right? So I want to put... So normally what you have is I don't want to write, like, Facebook and blah, blah, blah and blah, 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 right? Those are sort of kind of lame. I want to put the actual icons in there. Now, I could go online and, like, try to search for them and then link them and do that. But that's kind of a haphazard way, and I don't have a lot of control over that. Like, I'd have to find pictures that look the way that I want. What's better is to use Font Awesome. So if you remember Font Awesome, hopefully you do. Font Awesome. So here's Font Awesome. So Font Awesome basically is just a way of including icons into your site. And what's great about these, if you hopefully recall, is that basically they're all these pre-made icons. You don't have to make any of them. And they're standardized because everybody's using them, right? So like if I look for Facebook, I'm going to see they have a bunch of Facebook ones. And so I can include these into my site, okay? Which is pretty awesome. So now they have a different system of doing this, and in the future I would probably tell you to do that, but I'm going to try and do like a little bit of a hack to go around it, because basically what you have to do is you have to create an account with them, and then after you make an account, they give you like a CDN URL. Basically, CDN is Content Delivery Network, and what that allows you to do is basically link to their site, and then you can, then you connect to it. But I don't want to go through that whole process. So what I ended up doing was I just stole the one that was W3 Schools was using instead. And that's what we're going to do. And then I'm just going to connect these. But just so you get the idea, the way I find what these things are... Actually, I'll leave this open. I'll show you where to come back to this. But that's what we're going to do, basically. We're going to link to Font Awesome. And then we're going to... we're going to go ahead and put them in here. We're going to go ahead and utilize their icons, okay? So, let's go back to here. So we have this blah, 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 doing that. But next what I need to do is, and in the header as well, I need to actually link to the Font Awesome, okay? So this is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to do, again, another kind of like a hook. So, well, not kind of a hook. We're going to do a hook. So we're going to do add underscore action. Underscore action. So we're going to add another action. And this action, what I'm going to add, put a semicolon on the end, is this. So I want this to hook on WP underscore NQ. NQ? Is that right? NQ? Yeah, NQ underscore script, like that. Okay, so WP, NQ, and scripts. Just, it's like UE. It's kind of, I don't know. It's a weird way of spelling it. I don't know, something about it. Basically what this does, it says when you load the scripts for the site, when you're loading those, I want you to run this function, which is also going to load some more scripts. So that's the reason why we're connecting it that way. And then it's the thing I want to run, so I'm just going to go ahead and add that. So I'm going to make a function, and this function is going to be my NQ, like that, underscore social, underscore media, underscore style, like that. And then we'll just do, the braces. There we go. So I want it to run. This is the function I want it to run. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy it because it's a little bit easier. Make sure I don't write it wrong. So after this, then do comma and single quote, Control V. And come on so I can turn you off. There we go. Okay. Good, like that. Okay, so basically what it's going to do is it's going to, we did another add action. This time our hook is when it runs the scripts on WordPress, and I want it to run this function right here. Okay. Now the reason why I need to do it in the header, because I need it to happen before the functions, because it's going to load this right off the bat, and then this it'll load later. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there, and then basically I want to have it. What I'm going to do is I need to connect now to my font awesome stuff. Okay. So we're going to do WP underscore NQ underscore style. And the thing that it's going to be, now this is a made up name, but it's just so that like I know if I need to reference it again, it's almost like giving it a variable name. I'm just going to call it font awesome. That's just what I'm going to name it in this case, but it could be anything. And then it's going to be the link to the CDN, basically the link to where I'm going to get those files from. Where I'm going to get those files from. Okay, so now instead of trying to type it out in front of you, because you're probably not going to be able to be like, what's this? And it's going to be real unlikely that you're going to do it 100% accurate. Sorry about that. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you where I got it from. So just go to W3 schools. And then when it comes into, let me see, what would it be? Learn icons? Yes. Okay. Go to learn icons, and then go to any one of these. I don't really care. Let's do intro and see if it shows up here. That's not. Let me see. Try yourself. Yeah, that's not the one I was hoping for. Let's just go brands. I'm gonna try clicking on brands. Let's see, and then we'll click on try it. And then, see, that's not what I wanted either. How come what I wanted isn't showing up? See, this is using the old script style. Last time I did this, I didn't have a problem. All right, well, then you'll just have to write it out. Sorry. Lo siento. Okay, so it's going to be single quote HTTPS, okay, and then quotes / / So it's how all websites start, right? Well, secure websites. If it's HTTP, it's not secure. The S means secure. Then CDN, so content delivery network, and then JavaScript dot, right? And cloudflare.com / Ajax / libs, like library, libs, okay, libs, there we go, / font - awesome / and then this version is 4.7.0 and then / it's a CSS sheet. It's a lot of folders, and then font - awesome .min. So min just means it's been minified, which means that it's not easy to read, but it's very short, like it truncates the code, which makes it really difficult to edit. Like you wouldn't be able to edit it. I mean, you could, but it'd be very difficult for you. But it reads a lot quicker because it gets rid of all the spaces and stuff. So see how there's spaces between all my things here? It will just remove all of that. So min.css. So it's a CSS sheet, okay? So look at it, try to write that. Hopefully that'll work okay. Oh, and I need my semicolon afterwards. All right. So now that will hook up the font awesome that I'm going to use in order to work my site over here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, so hopefully you got that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add what I want it to do. So we're going to remove this echo, and I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to put it on multiple lines. This way it's a little bit easier, and I can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to do echo, and then what we're going to do is I'm first going to make a div, okay, and we'll do a div, and we're going to do an ID equals, and we'll just do it sock med, like social media, quote, like that. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got to do single quotes. Single quotes. Like that. So you might have noticed that it's going to be sensitive to single or double quotes. So if I use double quotes here, then I have to use single quotes here. If I use single quotes there, and I have to use double quotes there. Anyway, so single quotes, so that way it works. And then down here, I'm just going to go ahead and close the div so I don't run into an issue with that. So opening and closing div of this, so everything's going to fit in this nice little div that I can then target. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a P. And we're just going to say, follow me on social media, we'll say. And then close my P. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do another P. And then I'm going to go like that. Okay. So the reason why I'm doing this is that inside of this, I'm going to put links. Now, I could do an unordered list. I mean, that would probably make sense too, but then the formatting would be a little bit more difficult. By putting multiple links inside of one P, they'll go across, and I won't have to worry about adding more CSS, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So, what I'm going to do is, hang on a second. I keep calling. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to now put those social media things. So it's going to be follow me on social media, and then I'm going to put the social media. So this will be one paragraph, and then this is the next one. Okay, so, and we're just going to make them kind of like a list. I'm not going to do an unordered list, but that's kind of how it's going to be. Now I want to show you how I'm going to get that. So yeah, in here. So like, let's say I'm going to do all square ones. So see how this one says square? If I click on it, it's going to give me right here is the thing, and if I click on it, it'll actually. Oh, you can download the SVG. When I click on it, it'll actually just copy it to my clipboard, and then when I go back here, I would just paste it like so. But obviously that doesn't work because of the quote thing, because it's giving me the normal quotes. So I'm not going to do that anyway. But I just wanted to see where it comes from. Okay, so it's I class equals single quote font awesome dash Facebook dash official, like that. Good. And then we'll just do like this, and then close out my I like that. Okay. So it's I class official. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, great. Now I'm just gonna do another one. So I'm gonna do, there's my Facebook one. We'll do, but that's how I got them. I just went on there and I just searched for them and then just put in what I want. So it's gonna be another I class equals, and I forgot the I. I'm not typing well today. I class equals quotes dash Instagram boink doink 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 doink. Okay. Now that you might be thinking it's weird that they're using the I tag, because if you remember I is italics. I think the reason why they're doing that is because italics aren't used for anything else. Because if we're going to do something like that, usually use emphasis and EM. So because it's been kind of deprecated in a way, it still exists in there, but I think that's the reason why they're going ahead and just using the I's, because they're not being utilized. So it's kind of like a free tag to attach themselves to. So I keep doing that. Okay. I class equals hyphen Twitter dash square. Boom, 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 boom. And then we'll do one more, and we'll just do a YouTube one. I class. I don't even have any of these. I do have a YouTube channel though, obviously. YouTube square. We'll just go like that. Okay, and actually I'm just gonna tab this in, I know it's kind of a weird way of doing it. So that should work. Let's go ahead and save that. Control S. And let's go back here. And let's go to our site. I'm just going to close this out. I don't need any of these anymore. And let's refresh. And then it says follow me on social media. And then there's my social media things right there. Right? So it's pretty cool. But I don't want it to look exactly like this. I want this to be a little bit different. I want to be able to control the size of these icons. I also want to make them links, so we'll make them links as well. So we need to do that stuff. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to make these links first, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to format them. So let's go back to here. And all I'm going to do is just wrap these inside of A's. So I'm just going to do A href equals single quote, money symbol, single quote, like that. And I'm just going to copy that. I'm just making empty ones because they're not actually going to go anywhere. But obviously you would put your actual links for these. I'm just not putting actual links in there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the closing A's as well. And I'll just copy that too. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, so now those are all links because I wrapped, I put an A in there and then those inside of it. Okay, great. So those are links. Yay. Go ahead and save that. Now what I want to do is I want to be able to format these. So there's a couple things I want to do. Right now it has follow me on social media, and then it has the links right or the social whatever underneath it. I want to make it so it's 2 rows. So it's this follow me on social media and then the social media icons. And I also want to be able to format them. So to do that, if you remember, we already made a CSS sheet, the style sheet. So I'm going to double click to open that one up. That should pop up over here, hopefully. There it goes. And so we're actually going to style it in here. But right now, this has no way of interacting with this. If I put something in there, if you look, the way the file folder structure is that it's not connected really in any way. Like this is inside of here, so it's not connected. So we need to basically load that in. And the way we're going to do that is actually, we already have it set up. We're going to go over here to where we loaded up when we did the load the style. See how it says load media style? I'm actually going to go ahead and load another one, but this time it's going to be my own. So we'll just put it right on top of this one. So it'll be another WP underscore NQ underscore style, like so. And this time we're going to call it social media CSS. And I'll just call it social media. That's fine. Comma. And then we're going to use what we did up here. So this basically what this does is that you have to remember that right now, if I use any kind of URL, it's all local and everything, but this is eventually going to be on the internet, and so this will allow that to direct it. It's a way of without having to write it all out that it will do it. So so we're going to do a plugin underscore direct underscore path, and then underscore file underscore and then dot CSS. Oops, I think I gotta put that in single quotes. CSS style dot CSS quote and semicolon. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's also going to load our that style CSS sheet that we made. Okay, so but this has to tell it like, hey, I want you to go to the directory that my plugin is, and I'm looking for a file, and then we're loading the file here. Okay, because otherwise there's a CSS for my theme, right? And then there's probably other CSS for other plugins and things. This one will actually go to the this will actually go to the plugin directory, so that's why we write it that way. Otherwise it'd be a big long path, and it'd have to be an absolute URL, which I can't use because it would work here, but as soon as I upload it, it would be a different location and it wouldn't work. So that's why we're doing it this way. All right. So CSS style, that looks hunky-dory. So now that's connected. Just make sure you save it. Control S or Command S if you're on a Mac. And now let's go ahead and apply some CSS. It's going to be pretty easy. So I need to target basically my P's, because if you remember here, I have 2 P's. That's how I directed it. I have this P and I have this P. So I have 2 of them. And what I want to do is I just want to make it into 2 rows. So I can't just do P. what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the hashtag sockmed. Remember we made that that div, so I'm going to say inside of sockmed, grab the P's. Okay, so ID P, and then we're going to basically make this 2 rows. So we're going to do position relative to start with. Oops. And the reason why we need to do position relative, it's automatically already relative because it's normal flow. But we need to set that up because we can't, the positioning, I want to be able to shift them off left and right. It won't work without that. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a float. And we'll just do left, so it floats from the left side. And then we will do, so right now though, if we were to save this, Control S, and I just want to show you, if I refresh this, come on, it's floating left, but I need right now they're still going, they're spanning the whole thing, so I need to scale them, basically. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do width, and I'm just going to make it 20%. 20%. And then we'll do, so 20%, and I'm just going to save it and show you again, just because, Control R. So now that it's 20%, it's not going to do anything apparently. What did I do wrong here? Position relative, floating left, width 20%. I don't know. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and do left, and we'll do 20% as well. 20%. Semicolon. And then font size. Font hyphen size. I want to change the size of the elements there, or the one thing there. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it's 1 EM. So it should be the size of the default letter M. And then box sizing. Box hyphen sizing. And we're just going to say border box. And that's just going to make sure, if you remember from when we did the other thing, that it takes the box into account. Did I miss anything else? I think that's good. If I want to change the color, I would change the color in there as well. Maybe we'll do that. So we'll just do color. We'll just do dark gray. Dark gray. See what that looks like. Control S. Let's go here. Control R. All right. Let's see. Control S. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Hang on a second. Yeah, so I figured out what the problem was. It's not working. Basically this is not connecting the CSS that is here. And the reason why it's not working is because for whatever reason I'm a dummy and I wrote path. It should be URL. I think I was just looking at this one and got messed up on it. So it should be plugin directory URL, not path. Okay, so if you save that, and if you still have, so just go to your social media plugin and make sure that when you have this one here, the style linkage here, just make sure that it's URL plugin dir URL, not path like it was up here. Okay, so save that, and then we should refresh it. Control R, and then you should see you'll have social media, and then we'll have the social media basically over here. Okay, so I offset it by 20%, and then another 20%, and then there's this. So that way it kind of lines up with the margin that's there. It's not quite 100%, but it's pretty close. Okay. So yeah, sorry about that. Oops. So we have that. Now we have the style here, and then the other thing I want to do is just adjust the social media icons, because I'd like them to be a little bit bigger and to, have them look a little bit different. So I'm just going to do, again, I want to target them specifically in case I do have any other eyes. So I'm going to do sockmed I. And then we'll just go ahead and we're going to do font hyphen size. And then we'll just do, let's do 2 EM. So they'll be rather large. That might be too large, but we'll see. And then we'll do margin. oops. And I'm going to do, actually, let's see. I want to do margin left, hyphen left. And then I'm just going to do 1 EM to make sure there's enough distance between them, like that, okay? And then we'll save it. And I'm going to go here and refresh it. Refresh again. There you go. And now you can see, follow me on social media, and then it has my social media icons. And that looks acceptable. Now, if I wanted to change these in some way too, I could do that. So we could do hashtag soak media or soak med at a link, and then do like color, and we'll do like dark gray, I guess. Just okay. And then we could do another one. Let's just make sure that works. Control S, Control R. Let's see. There you go. So dark, right? And then I could do the hover one. So boom, sock med a hover, and just do color. It didn't really have and we'll just do black. Obviously, I would put like real colors in there, but we're just gonna do that for now. Save that, and then go back to here, Control R or F5, and then you can see when you hover over them, they turn black, right? And this color is too so you can see like that color is obviously too dark. I'd rather make it white or black, one or the other. But it's definitely dark gray ain't quite covering it. I probably want to find out what these colors are and just make it the same. We've now have that, and it doesn't matter what page we go to. So that now we're on the home page. If I go to sample page, you'll see it's on there. And so basically it'll auto-populate because it's always going to go in the bottom of the footer. So there's a very simple kind of plugin. In the future, if you want to make something really cool, at least now you get kind of a foundation. So there's always going to be a hook, and there's going to be a function that runs. All we really did was just add something in, writing basic HTML that we already know how to do. So you can see here, obviously, we have to write the header, right? So we write a header, and then we have I can close this up a little bit. Then we have, I moved this down, by the way. I don't know why. I just did it when I had it off. So if yours looks a little bit different, don't worry about that. This was originally up here. It doesn't make a difference whether it's before or after this function. But then we have to direct it towards our function, which does the actual work. And then we have a hook. And then we have the function that runs when it's hooked into WordPress. Okay. And then all we did is, we're in PHP. And then we just had PHP echo out, basically, these commands. And that is it. All right. So hopefully that made some sense to you. If you have any coding experience, probably it makes a little bit of sense. But that's it. So basically just get that done, and then just, do the normal thing. You're going to go here. You're going to stop your site I'm sorry. Don't stop it yet. You got to have it started. Hang on a second. I always think you got to stop it, and you don't. Start. You want to just right click and then just export, and it's going to export as a zip file. Just go ahead and export it. I'm not going to do that. It won't work when it's stopped. I did click on you. There it goes. Stop site. You would think you'd want to export it when it's not started, but anyway. So just go ahead and export that, and then upload that zip onto Blackboard for this lab, and then you're good to go. So good job. Think about the next project is going to be next week, and what that's going to be is going to be a business site. So think about something that you would want to sell. So I want you to do like basically a mock business. So if you are like a photography or maybe even a web design student, I mean you probably are if you're taking web too, then maybe make like, oh, this is going to be my site that I sell, my business on. Like, oh, here's if you want to have a package or something, or you could do something just real random like I sell horses or individual pieces of rice, whatever kind of floats your goat. But think about what you want to do for that, because that's going to be basically, I'm going to give you that project next week. All right. So good luck. Good job. Sorry for the little bit of confusion. I mistyped quite a bit. I'm sure you do too. All right. So